This slope video is about horizontal and perpendicular lines. So let's talk about our two friends. We have our friend Oi. Okay, these are things you need to memorize, please. Okay, this is Oi. Okay, he is fat and round. He's roly-poly. If you push him, he's just gonna roll, okay? His name is Oi. He is very horizontal. Okay, I apologize. My writing on here is not very good today, and it's delayed. Okay, his slope is 0, okay? The number 0. And his equation is y equals a number. So we're just going to write y equals 3. Okay. But it can be any number, positive, negative. Okay. So he equals a horizontal. So if we were to graph Oi, say we were to graph Oi at y equals 3. Okay. He is just going to be a horizontal line at positive 3. Okay, so that's our friend Oi. Remember him. Okay, our next friend is Vnox. Okay, he is vertical. So I need to draw him. Vnox is very tall and skinny and vertical. Okay. He has no slope. So this one Oi has a slope of the number 0. This is literally no slope. Okay, no slope, or it'll also be called undefined. And x equals a number, let's say negative 3, is his equation. Okay, so if we were to graph Vnox, go to negative 3, and we would draw a vertical line. Okay, so that's Oi and that's Vnox. There's one other thing we want to talk about, and that is parallel and perpendicular lines. There we go. Okay, parallel lines. I apologize. It's hard to write on the computer. Okay, parallel lines. So let's draw some parallel lines. These are not going to be exact, but you'll get my gist. Okay. Parallel lines, you should know, never intersect. Never, ever, ever, ever. Okay. So the thing about parallel lines is they absolutely have to have the same exact slope. So if the slope of this one is 2, then the slope of this one is 2 because they're parallel. If they didn't have the same slope, then they would intersect and then they wouldn't be parallel. So parallel lines have to have the same slope. The next one are going to be perpendicular lines. Okay, and I'm going to attempt to draw. Okay, this actually looks like a perpendicular line. Okay, so they cross each other at a right angle, which is 90 degrees. Okay, the thing about perpendicular lines, I want you to remember this thing. Perpendicular, flip it, change the sign. Flip it, change the sign. If the slope of this one is 2 over 3, then the slope of the one that it's perpendicular to is we're going to flip it over. So instead of 2 over 3, it's going to be 3 over 2. And it was positive. Now it's negative. Okay, flip it, change the sign. Flip it, change the sign. Okay, some kids get confused if it's like 2. Remember, whole numbers are over 1, so a line that's perpendicular to a line that has a slope of 2 would be -1/2. We'd flip it over, and we change the sign from positive to negative. Okay, now we can begin. Which equation represents a horizontal line? Remember, horizontal is OY, H-O-Y. So it has to be y equals a number as its equation. Okay, this is not a horizontal line. This is V naught. Here is OY. Oops, C. What is the slope of a line perpendicular to this line? So the first thing you need to do is identify the slope. Remember, the slope is always touching x. So this slope is 2. Okay, we just talked about this one. So the slope is flip it, change the sign. This one is positive 2 over 1. So if I flip it over, it's going to become 1 over 2. And it was positive, now it's negative. Next, which equation represents a line parallel? Okay, don't worry about the y-intercept. When we talk about parallel and perpendicular, you just want to look at the slope. Okay, so the slope is -1 over 3, and if it's parallel, remember they have to have the same slope. Okay, so the answer is A, because then they'll never intersect. Okay. Which statement is true about these equations? The equations are parallel, the equations are the same line, they're perpendicular, or they intersect, but they're not perpendicular. So if they're parallel, they'd have the same exact slope. Okay, they don't have the same exact slope. The equations represent the same line. Well, if they were the same line, they'd have to have the same slope and same y-intercept, so that can be true. The equations represent perpendicular lines. If I flip one over and change the sign, do I get the other one? And I do. So the answer is C. Which statement describes the line that contains this point? So this is where you need to use your calculator like we did in the last video, and you're going to take y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So you would do 4 minus 5 over -3 minus -3, okay? Oops. So take a second and put that in your calculator. Okay, and you should get something that says error, invalid, can't divide by 0, or something like that. Okay, because this would be -1. And if you did -3 minus a -3, that's basically -3 plus 3 and get 0. Okay, so it's invalid. Okay, that means it's undefined or has no slope. So which line has that? Was that V naught or OY? V naught. So it's a vertical line. If you put this in and you got the number 0, then it's horizontal. So here's a graph. It says, which equation represents a line that is perpendicular to this one? So the first thing we need to do is find the slope of this line. So how many boxes do we go up and how many do we go over? Rise over run. We go up 2 boxes and over 1. So our slope is 2 over 1. And this is a positive line. So perpendicular, we would flip it and change the sign. So flip it over becomes 1 over 2. It was positive, now it's negative. So which line looks like that? And it's A. What happens to the graph of this equation, y equals 2x plus 3, when the graph is changed to y equals -1/2 x plus 3? The graph does not change. Well, that doesn't make sense. The original graph shifts up 2.5 units. Well, the y-intercept stays the same, so it's not shifting up or down. So we can get rid of B and C. The new line is perpendicular. That's true, because our slope here is 2, our slope here is -1/2. They're negative reciprocals of each other. So this one talks about Jack and Mike mow lawns. Jack charges $3 per hour plus a $10 equipment fee. So his equation would be y equals 3x plus 10. Mike charges $8 per hour but does not charge an equipment fee. So his equation would just be y equals 8x. Okay, Sarah also mows lawns. She charges a $4 equipment fee. If the total amount that Sarah charges for mowing lawns were graphed on the graph shown, it would be parallel to the line that represents the amount that Jack charges. Which equation represents the amount that Sarah charges? So anything per hour, remember, is always going to be times x. So we need to figure out Sarah's per hour, and then hers is with an equipment fee of $4. That's your y-intercept. That's where you start. So we can already get rid of B and D because those are $10, and she's going to charge $4. But it says her line is parallel to Jack's. So Jack is this one, and Jack charges $3 per hour. So to be parallel, she would also have to have the same slope. So it would be A. Which of these describes the line that contains these points? Once again, y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So 5 minus 5 over 4 minus -3. Okay. When you pop this one in your calculator, you'll get 0 over 1, which just comes out to be 0. Okay, which one has a slope of 0? It's our friend Oi. Okay, and last one, what is the slope of a line perpendicular to the line below? We've had this one a lot. Perpendicular, flip it, change the sign. So instead of 2 over 1, it's going to be 1 over 2, and it's going to be negative. Okay, so remember Oi, Vnox, parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular are flip it, change the sign.